You're moving to Mexico and you're worried about speaking Spanish and it's just like it's on your mind all the time, don't worry, this video is for you. So when I moved to Mexico, I did all the things, right? I did all the learning materials, all the phrases. But the problem with all that stuff is that, like, yeah, you can remember phrases, but it's like it's different when you're like in the field and you're actually trying to speak Spanish, right? So in this video, I'm going to give you what I like to call power verbs. The real term is called modal verbs in Spanish. But so the key of these power, but I like to call them power verbs. The key to these power verbs is that these verbs give you the power to express yourself in a lot of ways that we like to express ourselves, as adults, as we do as we move through the world, right? Like we want to talk about what we need, what we have to do, what we want to know, what we want, like all these things, right? These are the things that are going to come up so much. And this video is going to empower you to start to be able to build sentences, right? The right way. So once you know these words, I'm going to give you examples and I'm even going to show you how to implement these solo so you can practice on your own in like a demonstration video. You'll see. Just stay tuned, right? So I want to go through all these verbs and we're going to go in depth, right? Well, not in depth, but good examples. So the first word is poder, right? So poder is means like you can, I can, or to be able to, right? So this is like extremely powerful because think about it in your everyday life, right? When you're talking to people, you're saying, "Hey, I can get that for you," or "I can go to the store," or "I can do this thing at work," or "I can stay late," or "I can go to the mall, wife or husband, and get the and buy something," right? So so an example of this would be like puedo pagar con mi tarjeta, right? So like that's like, can I pay with my card? You see what I'm saying? That's gonna come up a lot, right? If you're in Mexico, you're gonna be like, oh, hey, do y'all accept card here? Like puedo usar mi tarjeta, or you know, puedes aceptar mi tarjeta. So I'm asking like a person, like directly. So poder is like it's a very 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 powerful verb in Spanish. The next word is saber, right? This is good to know, and you probably use this a lot in your Spanish learning. This is saber is to know, right? So saber, like so, yo sé hablar español, so I know how to speak. Yo sé cómo hablar, or yo sé hablar español. I know to speak Spanish, right? Or another example would be like sabes cómo usar Estacado. I'm just thinking of like examples, right? So that's like, you know how to use this car? Like, I don't know. That was just something, just or a better one would be like, sabes cuánto cuesta, right? So that'd be like in the store. It's like, do you know how this means? Like, do you know how much this costs? Like, sabes cuánta cuesta. So that's like, do you know how much this costs? Right. So that's a really another great. You starting to see the power. You starting to see like why you need these words. I'm telling you, man. Once you get these words down, this is what's going to empower you. Not a bunch of phrases off Duolingo. The next one is quiere, right? Quiere is to want, right? Like I said, as adults, as we go through our lives, all we want to do is we want to talk about our desires, right? So like when you're ordering something, when you're in Mexico, right? You're gonna be like, I want a taco, quiero un taco, or you know, you don't want pork, you don't eat pork. You be like, no quiero cerdo, uh, so quiero pollo, I want chicken, right? Quiero, quieres, queramos, quieren. It's like total. You see this. You're expressing your desires, right? And that's what we all want to do. So I hope you see the magic in this, man. It's better than Duolingo. Duolingo ain't gonna empower you like this, man. It's not a bunch of phrases. These words these are power verbs. Okay, the next one is deber, right? This is to must. This is, like I like you must like this is like an obligation. It's like a duty, really, right? Deber is like so. For an example, debes practicar español todos los días. So that's you must practice Spanish every day. Or cada día, like debes practicar español cada día or todos los días. It's different ways to put it. But you see, like, or you'll hear like debes pagar aquí. Like somebody will say you have to pay here. Like, like if you're in like this counter over here, you like be in the store or something like that. They'll be like, oh, you gotta pay here. Debes pagar aquí. Or debes pagar allá. Things like that, right? So the next one is tener que. So now this one is kind of similar to deber, the last one, but this is more so I have to. Like, this is like the real obligation. So you're like telling somebody, like, tengo que ir al banco, right? So I have to go to the bank. See, things like that, right? You can kind of mix and match that with Debo, like Debo ir al banco, like I must, but tengo que I use Tango K more so in these examples, like in real life, when I have to like express like I have to do something, or I have an obligation, like when I'm in Mexico and stuff like that. So like, like tenemos que ir a Puerta 17 in el aeropuerto. So I'm saying like we have to go to gate 17 at the airport, like if I'm talking like, Uber driver or taxi cab driver, things like that. So I'm just telling them where we need to go, where our plane is leaving and taking off at. So that's what. So like I said, you can mix and match Tenerke and Deber, but I mainly use Tenerke in like most of my language. Okay, the other one is necesitar, right? So this is to need, right? So necesitar. So like, necesito pagar medicina por dolor en mi cabeza, right? So I need to buy medicine for a headache, right? I got pain in my head, so o necesitamos ir al banco porque no tenemos dinero, right? So necesitar, or like if you're talking to a group, it's like like you're talking to a group of people, you be like necesitan ir al aeropuerto para salir de Mexico. Right? I'm just trying to think of these examples off my head, but that was like y'all, this group, y'all need to go to the airport to leave Mexico. I'm sure they already know that, but that's just for just for the example. But I'm sure you're seeing how these verbs, how you can mix and match these verbs, right? And the last one, soler. So now I don't use soler too much, but soler is like to usually do, right? Like you're used to something, right? So it'd be like no suelo comer carne. So like I don't usually eat meat, right? So that would be how you would say that. I probably should use that more often, but I just it never really comes up. But you see how you can, it's like an adverb. You're like saying like you don't usually do something, right? Or you asking somebody suelas venir a Mexico, like do you usually come to Mexico, like things like that. So it's like it's cool, but it's still empowering at the same time, right? So, as I promised, I am going to give you an implementation video right now. Alrighty though, so this is the implementation video. So like I always say, you guys download SpanishDictionary.com. This is gonna be like your LLM, your super technical Bible manual, whatever you want to call it, in order to learn a lot of different things. So like, and what I like to do, I like to use this app called Whisper Flow. So you're really talking and speaking Spanish instead of writing Spanish, because I know as a native English speaker, it's hard to use these keyboards. That's why I don't recommend that people change their phone language to Spanish, because it just causes a lot of friction, unnecessary friction, when you could just like try to speak. So now I just like, so those words, those power verbs I was telling you about earlier, just pair these with like other verbs, other infinitive verbs, such as like we'll use comer, right, to eat. So I'll say Puedo comer aquí. So you play that, and it's like, yeah, I can eat here. I don't know why I didn't do the little question mark thing. Maybe I should have inflected more with that. The next one was like saber. So like I'll just say something simple like sabes español. Sabes español. Okay, you see how I inflected at that time and it gave me what I needed. So you just hit return. It'll go, yeah. Do you know Spanish? So you see what's going on. Like this is so I teach this way, like talking into Spanish dictionary instead of like ChatGPT or anything like that, because when you go in here, it'll give you word by word, right? So you can go to saber, to know. It'll give you like conjugations, right? Things like that. Say, sabes, sabes, sabimos, nosotros. You guys, if you don't know, um, don't have a good grasp on like conjugations, I'll make videos on that too, going over all these different conjugations and things like that. But this is why I don't really focus on too many grammar drills, because once you're like put yourself in the mode of speaking Spanish and trying to speak Spanish, uh, these words are like come out, and then you can like study each word. Its context, its conjugations, its meaning, and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the implementation video for now. Yeah, so hope you guys like this. Peace. All right, so that's pretty much it, man. I hope you guys got a whole bunch of helpfulness out of this video. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, if you guys want to like learn Spanish, I have a Spanish learning system, that teaches you Spanish, that allows you to learn Spanish and make the world your classroom and not be dependent on apps and grammar drills and Duolingo and all this other stuff. So you can become your own, self-independent, empowered self, right? So link in the description box below. Check out my Spanish learning system and hit the like, subscribe if you want to. So y'all have a good one, man. It's your boy Lou. Catch you on the next one. Peace.